Yeah, most people are over there, so we're going to come. You lot might not get in my selfie. I like to do a selfie, and I have an ask of all of you. I'd like, yes, well, that lady's already waving, but she's not waving at me. And I'm going to get you all to wave at me. I want nice big waves when I count you in. Not yet. Not yet. We're ready. Okay, so I'm going to come this way, and I'm going to try and get you in. I'm not going to get you in. I'm sorry. You're just not going to be in this picture. I could take one of just you and me, like that. But we'll see. All right, are you ready? I want big smiles. They have to be smiles, or I will know, and I will hunt you down and make you smile. And then you can tell me, I don't smile. It's all good. Okay, so, all right, I want those arms up. Nice big waves. 3, 2, 1. All right, I need another one for you lot, okay? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you very much for indulging me with my little thing. So my name's Layla. And that's me, sort of. I am a developer advocate for VMware. Yes, we do have .NET, not a lot of .NET, but we do like .NET, and you can deploy all your .NET stuff on our stuff, and we have lots of cool open source libraries that you can use for .NET, none of which we are going to look at today. None. I don't think that's the sum total of VMware that we're going to talk about today. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we could talk about women of .NET. There's so many women here. I love it. If you are a woman and you do .NET and you want to be involved in the community, you can come and find me. We have a Discord server. We have a website. If your mother, sister, daughter, girlfriend, wife, friend, colleague is interested and identifies as a woman, you can come and chat to me or Irina, and we will welcome you into the clan. Also, if you're an ally and you want to support women in .NET, you're welcome as well. We welcome allies. We're very ally-friendly because without this, we can't do anything. You can find this code that we're going to look at on Layla-P. It's the only thing that's not Layla codes it. It's Layla-P. So that's all you need to remember for GitHub. And then you can find me on Twitter. I'm still on it, at Layla Codes It, and YouTube at Layla Codes It. I don't use Twitch anymore, so don't go looking for me there. Well, you'll find me, but I won't be live. All right, so we are going to look at various things in .NET. So if you've not used the latest from .NET 6, I'm going to go and have a little moan about things that happened in that switch from .NET 5 to .NET 6. We're going to go and look through various different things. I did have some Post-its here. What did I do with them? My order that I'm going to do it. I've lost my Post-its, so we're just going to wing it. It's all good. It's fine. I have no slides. If you're looking for slides, I'm sorry, I haven't got them. This is my no slide talk. So we're going to go through this thing. I will come back here and make sure I've covered it all. But let's get cracking. Wow, that's really tiny. I've been having problems with Ryder. Don't tell Rachel. In the zooming in, here we go, zooming in and out. Okay, zooming in and out. And we're going to hop onto this one, which is probably going to be teeny tiny as well. Oh, wow, no, that was too big. I was so busy getting non-green stuff on the screen that I forgot to go and check my fonts. Okay, just questions while I sort this out. This is where you can join and post your questions for room 1. Pop those in, we'll do them at the end. All right, so that's that bit. Coming back this way, let's go and start at the very beginning with .NET 5. So if we go in here, I have a .NET 5 application. Come on, I have a .NET 5 open. Thank you. And in a .NET 5 application, this was kind of familiar from all the .NET Core stuff we had. We have a program, and I'm going to point some things out. All right, we've got the program. We've got all these lovely using statements taking up the whole top half of my file. So I actually always code this big. This is how I like to see it. And then we've got our namespace. You can see now we've got another indentation. We've got this program file. I don't do anything in this program file. And I open up a new project, and that's it. I ignore it. I don't really look at it. You can go and put some stuff on the host builder, but I never really bothered with that. And here was where all the action happened in the startup. And I was very attached to the startup. I was putting startup in everything, console apps if I could, just putting them anywhere because I'm big on dependency injection. I love it. Probably over-engineer it. Don't tell Nick. He'll come and tell me off for being an over-engineerer. But anyway, we could put our services in this configure services, and then we could go and put middleware down here. So this was all on the app, and this is where we could put stuff. This had controllers. All of this is how we had it. And I was very, very attached to this. So what happened when .NET 6 came out? I got angry. I was like, really angry. So let's go and have a look at what a .NET project looked like. And, no, come on. I don't know what it is about this attaching to external monitors that my computer does not like. But it's a Mac, so we'll go off. Let's go with temp, cd into temp. I remembered to cd into it, and we're going to go .NET new, and then I'm going to put minimal just to really go. Let's just make this a little bit bigger. So I've gone .NET new minimal. That's not going to work. So hang on, we need web API, and then I'm going to give it a tag of minimal. Let's go. All right, let's go and open this. This is going to burn your eyes because it's light mode. Dun, dun, dun. Bye-bye, retinas. All right, so first thing, apart from the blindingness, I'm not changing it now. You'll have to deal with it. We'll do the rest of the code in dark green. It's fine. All right. Program, wow, what is going on here? Is this a plus? I was not happy. I was so unhappy when this came out because I'm like, program, I don't do things in program, I do stuff in startup. And now I've got this stuff here. Where is everything? It looks like a script. Do you not think it looks like JavaScript? Have you ever written Express in Node? I have. Poor me, pity me. And this is what we had, okay? It looks like that. And this is the minimal hosting pattern and with top-level statements. And what we've now got is there's no program method class and there's no main method. And that's because it's all gone static. So we can just go straight into our builder. And this does look like, if I go all the way over here, very similar to the startup. So we've got our builder, and that's got all of the services on it, because if we go back, let me just swap these around. Okay, we can go back. We've got our services here. That is an iService collection. So that maps really closely to the service collection here, and we can add all of that stuff. And then down here, where we have where is it gone? The builder.build. We build our web application. So the builder is an iWeb application builder, and then when we build it, we get a web application. That's what app is. If I go in here, we can go web application. Not like that. Not like that either. Let's go back and try that again. Yes, thank you. Thank you, IntelliSense. So that is a web application, which is very similar to what we have down here in our configure services. So we go through that, and then I don't think we do the build down here, but we have all of that. I'll stop flicking back and forth soon. All right, so we had that, and I hated it. I even made a YouTube video on how much I hated this pattern. and then how much I came to like it. Now, I hated it because I felt like when you start putting all of your services in here, this is going to be like a behemoth of code. It'll be hundreds of lines long. Imagine you have a really big project and you've got all of these dependencies. It's just going to keep going and going and going, and it just hurt my soul to see all of this code in here with no separation of concerns, and it just felt ugh. And then I was like, okay, what can I do to make it better and make me not hate it? So I'm going to share some of those things with you today, and I actually really love it. And one of the things that I really like about it is it's easier for people new to C# and .NET to get started. There's less ceremony. We don't have all that indentation. It's easier to read. So I started to come around to it, and I stopped doing .NET New, please use .NET 5, even though I'm on .NET 6, and then upgrading from .NET 5 to .NET 6, and this whole, I went through all of these loops to try and make a .NET 5 structured application using .NET 6. So what else do we have in here? Well, we've got this thing down here, and this is a minimal API. And again, this looks very like Express.js in Node, where you just map your endpoints in a kind of script. So we have that. And we've got names. This is just to do with Swagger, so you don't need that. Don't worry about that, because we've got Swagger in here up there. And this will just go and work just the same as anything else. So if we go back over here, is this where I put it? Yeah, let's go .NET run. And we'll see. We go to this host. You don't like me, do you? No, of course not. Why would you do that? Why would you work? Did I take... Oh, I took the HTTP. It's fine. I don't know. Well, it'll be the template. I don't know why it's done that. Straight out the template. I didn't change anything. That's very unfair of it, but, you know, live coding and all. So we would have had Swagger, and we could have gone and had a look at it. It would have looked something like this, but without all of that on it. Okay. So how do we start making this look better? All right, let's get cracking. So I have this application, and it revolves around some food. I'm very into food demos. In my workshop, we were doing tacos. Now we're going to have waffles. Okay, I'm going to make you all really hungry for your lunch, which is not straight after my session, so you'll have to wait. In here, I have an Azure function that's going to give some ingredients. That's already running, but we're not really going to go into that. That's just to serve us later. And then I have the code in here. That's really tiny. Let's go and make that bigger. I was fiddling around trying to get everything to work earlier with it not being ginormous and trying to scale, and it just was not having any of it. So look at this, it's all going a bit nuts for me. Oh, here we go, font. Not font, font. Okay, thanks. All right, well, I'll tell you what it says on the left, as long as this bit on the right is big. So in here, we've got all our data, we've got controllers. You can still use controllers, even if you've got minimal APIs. This one's got migrations, so you could go and get this, update the connection strings, run your migrations, and have an application with some stuff in it to play with. And then we've got various other stuff. So let's go and have a little dig around. So in our program file, because this is much more interesting than just a template, because this is actual what you might write yourself. So up here, I've got my usings, and actually let's address those usings first, because we've got some cool things from .NET 6. I'm probably going to use system.text.json throughout my entire application. So you know what? I don't have to declare it in every file anymore. I can use something called global usings. And what we already have in this application is implicit usings. So you can see there's not system in here and all of those other things. You may be thinking, well, how's it running without system? And that's because if we go to our CS proj, I'm going to go to this one because Ryder and me, I'm out of practice with Ryder. So if I go and CS proj, come on, bite me, bite me, bite me. Here we go. You'll see that here we have this implicit usings tab, and it's enabled. So you can disable that if you want to have all of your usings like system visible, but this is going to bring in a whole load of usings or libraries for you, APIs, based on the SDK at the top. So whatever type you bring in, it's going to bring in the relevant libraries to support your code. So we've got that, which is cool. So now we've got less space, but what do we do with the ones that we add? Well, you can create a file in there. You don't have to call it global usings, but I think that makes sense. I'm making global usings. I'm going to call the file globalusings.cs. In this case, global using. Nothing like a good name, is there? So now we can put that in, and with the keyword global in front of it, that's all going to work. So you can probably, hopefully, see that my program file might not be angry anymore. Nope, there's no red down the side. So now it's already started to pick up the global using. So that's cool. I've taken that out. And that means I've got less code at the top here, less stuff cluttering up my files. And now down here, you can start configuring your builder. We've got this builder.configuration. This is an I configuration. And this goes in order. So it will look in app settings first in this case. You can add your developer app settings in here. You can add any type of thing where you're getting your settings from. That could be a JSON file anywhere on your system. It could be something else that you bring in. But we've got that configuration here, and then it will go and look at that, and then it will go look at environment variables, overwriting any duplicates. Then it will go to user secrets if you're using that in development, and it will overwrite that, and finally, command line arguments. So the order in which you place this is important. I don't think you need the build anymore. I was talking to some people at Microsoft on the .NET team, do we need the build? And no one has been able to tell me if we need it or not. Sometimes I find it's better if I put the build there and I get my stuff through, but I don't think you necessarily need it. But it doesn't hurt if you put it in. So that's our configuration object. And then you can see we've got all the stuff that we had in our startup file just added here. So I've got notes in here which will help you when you come to look at this project as well. And I'm going to come down here to where we build it and look at the dependencies that we've got. So I have this get waffle toppings because we want to know what we've got to put on our waffles. And this is horrible. Look at all those dependencies just there, all nude up. I can't even look at it. It's horrible, all right? So just because it is a minimal API doesn't mean that you can't use dependency injection. And I'm assuming that you know what dependency injection is, but you'll get the gist as we go. If you don't, quick Google, okay, because we don't have time to go into this. Right, so I need this waffle creation service to go and create a waffle. And that has a dependency on a waffle ingredient service, and that in itself has a dependency on an HTTP client. I do not want to be newing these all up here. This HTTP client, I'm not really managing its life cycle so well here. I have got the using there, but we can do better, okay? So I'm going to delete these. I'm going to get rid of them, and I'm going to put waffle. I'm actually going to put iWaffle because that's got an interface, creation service. And that's WCS. And now I can get rid of that. Okay, so that's how you can inject dependencies in there. Sometimes you will get a moan from the compiler. It's like, I don't know what's a dependency, especially if it's on a post. So you can use decorators like so, from services. So you can put a decorator on that to tell it that, yes, this is from your IOC container, but you don't always need that. You'll see it's more when you've got a post and you're bringing in a body, you mix everything in together, which is, it's okay. So we've got this iWaffle creation service, so we need to add that to our IOC container. Let's go up here. We're going to start adding some services. Let's start. We know that we have an HTTP client. Now, if I add builder.services.add HTTP client, that's actually going to use the HTTP client factory, which you should strive to use because that is going to manage your HTTP clients for you. And by manage that, it's going to manage their life cycles, it's going to dispose of them, it's going to cycle them, it's going to make sure that you have a nice way of not exhausting your sockets. If you had a lot of instances of this and you were creating a lot of HTTP clients, I mean, it's hard to exhaust your sockets. You're really scaling, but it is a chance, and it's better if you use the HTTP client factory to do this. Okay. I nearly poured that down me, so we're really lucky that I managed to negotiate the water bottle properly. We also have our waffle ingredients service, so we're going to add that. Builder. Really? No. This is my daily life with code, okay? I talk to my computer, it does IntelliSense, hates me, I swear. There are pixies in machines that go and really get me, okay? We are going to add this, let's just go with a scoped. I can talk about life cycles if we have time. This is generic, and that needs to be a capital A. And I'm hoping it's going to come up. Waffle ingredients. Why am I not getting IntelliSense? Never get IntelliSense. Waffle ingredient service. All right, so we've added that, hopefully. And now I'm also going to add the dependency we're calling down here, which is our iWaffle. I actually have several implementations of iWaffle, so that's why I wanted to put that in. Now we're going to go builder.services.add scoped, and this one is going to be iWaffle. No, of course you wouldn't put that inside the carrots, would you? Let's go here, and that is going to be the waffle no. It is called the waffle creation service. Now we've got it. No? Oh my God. There. Okay, we have that. So now we've got our dependencies ready to use. So this is all really good. All right. No, go here. That's this API sorted down here, and I can probably run this. Shall I risk running it? Let's see if it's going to play. It ran this morning. Thank you. No, you're not going to do that. You've deleted the configuration I set up this morning. I hate this computer sometimes. We're going to run it from over here. CD. And CD code. No, what am I doing? Code. Okay, it looks like we're in the right place, so let's go .NET run. Ignore the warnings. It's just telling me I've not done my nulls and stuff like that. Okay, this one hopefully will show better. We need, that's what happened earlier. We needed Swagger, didn't we? That's what the problem was. Yes, come on, you can do it. What was that one? Did I shut it? Thank you. See, we're mob programming now. This is all good. There we go. All right, yes. Okay, it is there, finally. We've got some stuff on the screen. Let's make that bigger. Totally a word. Do not argue with me. And there we go. We've got some waffles. Okay, so our dependencies are working. Let's continue. Let me turn that off. We can bring that over. No, don't do that. I'm glad you're all laughing at my ridiculous computer skills here. I promise you, I'm not conning you. Okay, so let's go. Oh, there we got responses. Okay, there's some logging in there. I do logging terribly. I do it wrong. Go and learn how to do it right at the end of the day. Don't forget, you can put your questions in. I may or may not be able to answer them into Slido. All right, so we've got that sorted. But now you can see that, oh my goodness, if I add all of my dependencies in here, that's going to be a mess. So what I like to do is create extension methods. I've kind of got some mapped out already. So I'm just going to grab this and cut it out. And then if I go over here, I've got a directory called extensions. And in here, I have an add, please open, add dependencies file. And now I have a public class service collection extensions. And we're going to put all of our service extensions in here. And what we need is to make this static because it is an extension. And I actually like to make it partial, all right? Because I like to have them separated but all be service collection extensions. That is up for debate. Lots of people hate partial. It's fine. I'm not going to go in a fight with you. I won't die on that hill. It's fine. Do what suits you. Just be consistent. So we need a public iService collection. This just hates me, doesn't it? Why is there no IntelliSense? iService collection. And then we can call this whatever we like. It does need to be static. And we're going to call this add dependencies. So I like to call the name of the file the name of the method. Let me just close this. So what we need to do is use this keyword. So this is now going to be an extension. Thank you, finally, some IntelliSense. And we're going to go services. And to make this happy, we need to return our services as well. Look, I'm speeding up now, it's helping me. And we can just drop in those things I grabbed out. Now, is it option? Yes. Woo, that was good, wasn't it? So I've now put them in here. And this is nicely abstracted out. And we can grab that. Some people don't like this, and that's okay too. This is my preference, and it's my show, so I'm showing you what I like to do. And how we do that is builder.services. And then we can add dependencies. Okay, so that will work in exactly the same way, but now we just have this single line rather than multiple lines. And I much prefer that. It's much cleaner, and I just think it's nice. So we can improve on this some more as well. Let's go back and have a look. Now, I work with my teammates are all Spring developers. And I was working on a talk with one of my teammates. And he said, what do you do with private dependencies? And I'm like, private dependencies? I don't think I've ever worked with private dependencies. So I'm going to show you what I thought of for these mystery private dependencies in case it helps you, because it also serves to talk about how the IOC container can manage life cycles. So let's actually just grab this one, and I'm going to bring it over into the file here. Now, I have some dependencies in here. I didn't copy it. So Rider is set up to use like control instead of command, and it gets me every time. And I don't know how to turn that off. So I have to switch between control and command, like Windows and Mac, every time I use this. So let's go and drop that in here. And I'm actually going to make this private. And this is a way that you can go in and break down your service collections into even more granularity. So we can grab that, and over here I can go services dot add marketing dependencies like so. And now you can see I've encapsulated more code into this private, and I can bring it up here. And that's another way of just nicely encapsulating stuff into nice manageable chunks. This could, you could have this in a separate file, obviously not private, but you can start to play around and find a way that works for you. Now, we have these marketing dependencies. Let's go and have a look at them. Services. This is so tiny, and I don't know how to make it bigger. It's good. So I've got this marketing private dependency and a marketing endpoint. Now, the marketing endpoints has a dependency on the marketing private dependencies. So we're going to add this to our IOC container. So let's start by grabbing the private. Now, I don't want this globally available in my service collection. I just want this available for this one thing. So I came up with this. I am really interested to hear if anyone's got nicer ways for doing this. So I'll just show you this one. So I have whatever that was called, and I'm just going to call that MPD equals new. This is another nice thing. Look at that. I don't have to put new marketing private dependency. I really like this. I use this all the time. It's a little bit more streamlined. So I'm being explicit about my variable. So you can go down and read it, but then I don't have to repeat it on the other side, okay? So that's another new feature which I think is really nice. So I've got that. Now, that is newed up here. There is no management of that life cycle right now. So I now want the marketing endpoint. So we're going to have marketing endpoint. And let's just call that ME equals new. And that has that dependency on MPD, so let's put that in. All right. Now, I want that marketing endpoint available on the IOC, so we're going to go services dot add, let's just go scoped for ease, and we can add ME just like that. Okay, now if you see code like that, you should go and inspect it a little bit more because it could be a little bit of a code smell. Adding it like this does not manage the life cycle of that marketing endpoint, nor the marketing private dependency. Now, if there's nothing in there to manage, it doesn't call iDisposable, then you don't really need to worry about it. But let's just say there was some connection in here, you were connecting to a WebSocket or a client or something. What happens when we close the app? It may not be disposed of properly, or, well, this is scoped, so it's going to create a new instance of this for every request. So what happens? Well, in this case, it's not being managed. So we can go and manage that. We can do CTX, and then we can go bringing in, we'll have to do it like this. So we can copy that, and we can go new marketing endpoint, like that, okay? And passing in MPD. Let's just say MPD is some settings. That doesn't need disposable, so it's not managed like that. So if we get rid of this, by adding it like this, that is now managed for us, okay? So if you have something that you need managed, because it calls iDisposable, you need to add it to your IOC in such a way like this, okay? If you're going to new it up like that and not let the IOC handle its life cycle, its complete life cycle. Now, my friend Steve Collins has an amazing blog series on iDisposable in dependency injection. If you want to know more about that, please go and check out stevetalkscode.co.uk and have a look at that. He is really, really excellent at explaining this, and he's fantastic. So go and check out his code. You'll learn lots from him, and you can go and learn more about the life cycle. Right. So we've got that. That's just a little bit there about context and life cycles and managing your disposing of your things, just being a conscientious developer. All right, so this is where I wanted my little post-its to say, Layla, this is where you're going to go next. But it's okay, I can wing it. Let's go and have a look at the program here. So we've got that. We can also add in your DB context, and that needs your configuration. So when you go and write, let me go into these extensions, you can also pass in other dependencies through to your extension methods. So I have an extension method, well, a file called add databases. And in here, I mean, it could be like add connections or something. These namings aren't the best, all right? They're demonstration namings. Now, I've got this as I service collection because that was kind of the way I liked it. And then people moan at me because it's like, well, it's an I for an interface. And it's like, yeah, but it's extensions for I service. So you can call it whatever you like, all right? We're not here to debate names. We can do that later after lunch. So you can now have your services.add DB context. There's loads of option extensions for your add DB context. This one's using SQL Server. And you can see that it needs configuration because it's getting the connection string from our app settings. So up here, this extension method not only needs this I service collection, that this must be first, okay? The thing that you're extending has to be the first argument. But we can add other things afterwards. So in this case, we are using I configuration config. So that's the I configuration from our builder. So if we come back over here, I'm going to come and add this now into our program, and I'll show you how you pass in that builder. So let's go builder.services. Now you can extend the builder itself if that's what you like. You don't have to extend these services. You can extend the entire builder. Some people like that. It really depends on how you like to work, but just know you have these awesome extension processes. Now, our builder configuration is our I configuration that we need. So we can grab that and we can pass that through to our databases, like so. Okay, so now we've abstracted that out and that's all nice and tidy. Yay, I didn't pour it over myself. Hurrah. Okay, so we've got that. And now we're going to come down here and have a look at these pesky minimal APIs. So can you imagine if you had a whole load of endpoints in your program file? This would get really long. Again, I hate it. So we're going to extract it out. I use hate quite a lot with this, and I always get told off. Don't use hate, it's too strong a word. But I do. I feel so strongly about not having messy code in everything. Okay, nice and neat and tidy. My house isn't neat and tidy, but my code is, most of the time. All right, so I have got an add APIs file up here. And just like the iService collection, I have a web application extension method here, and I've got static web application, add APIs, and you can see we've got this keyword for our web application. Now, if you are using instant APIs for just CRUD, maybe you're doing some kind of microservice and you don't want to have to go and write all that boring CRUD, create, write, update, delete, okay? Create, read, not write, create, my 3 R's in England, reading, writing, arithmetic, the 3 R's. We can spell English. Create, read, update, delete, you can go and use the instant APIs. My friend Jeff Fritz created that library. I think it is still very much a work in progress, but you can run that and it will go and create all of your API endpoints. There's another one I meant to ask Nick about it. He does it in his minimal API talks. It's like Express APIs or something. Another thing that you can go and use to rapidly create your API endpoints. So there's a load of stuff coming out for minimal APIs, which makes them really nice to use. So what we're going to do is that thing that I cut, we're going to drop it here. And you can see we've got this map get. Well, we can totally have an app.map post. My goodness, I really cannot spell today, can I? And just like up here, we could have the same endpoint there. I mean, that's a terrible endpoint name. Don't judge. We can pop that in there because it's post. We can be very restful with our gets and posts. You can do this as you would a controller. You can go and divide them up if that's the way you want. And then we can have our anonymous function in here. I'm just going to put async. I don't even know if it is, but wow. So in here, again, let's just say we want the iWaffle creation. Come on, go here. Copy. And then we can come down and put that in. And this is where it's probably going to moan at us like, oh, I don't know if that's from services or the request. And then if we go here, what have I got in my DTOs? Let's just go with a waffle DTO. Waffle DTO. And let's just call that waffle. So if we're getting that, this is from the iService collection, and this one is from the request. So this is where, also for clarity for you and your colleagues, this is where I think you should put from services. You can also put that on a new line. In this one, we can go from body. You may have used that in a controller action. You may have used that decorator from body. So we've got that, and that will all now come in, and you can do whatever you need to do in here with your stuff. Okay, so that's how you can use your minimal APIs with all of those anonymous functions and make them nice and useful. So we've got that. So now how do we make sure that we've got that? Well, just like everything before, we grab that, we go over to program, and we dump that app.add APIs. Okay, so that's that bit done. But we can do better. Yay, we can do better. Now, remember I said about that HTTP client factory? Well, we can do extra stuff with HTTP client factory. If I go and show you what the waffle ingredients service looks like, this has a dependency on an HTTP client, and we can make this into a strongly typed HTTP client. Yay, that's nice again. And that will then be managed by the client factory. So let's go over to, I'm going to open up this new file because we're going to talk a little bit about policies in a moment. Let's close this. I've got so many things open. Let's close that, and that, that, and that. Okay, so in here, at the moment, we've got a waffle ingredient service, and then we've got our waffle creation service. So I'm actually going to just get rid of these from here. Now, I wouldn't normally put these in a separate file or something, but just for ease, I am going to. So I've got this file called add clients and policies. It's already partially set up, so you can see I've got that extension method for iService client, all right, collection. So let's just drop these in here. So I've got my generic HTTP client. You can have a named HTTP client. So if we go services dot add HTTP client, not client, so client, and we come in here, we can actually give this a name. Let's just call that .NET days. That would be the name of it, and then we can come through here And I always forget how this goes, but we're going to go with that. And we can have, oh yes, this needs to be client. And then in here, client.base address equals new URI. And then you can put your base address in there, so whatever it is. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so now we've got that that named client. Now, if you want to use that client, let's go and have a look in a controller. I'm going to grab this name, because that's how we're going to request it. So this will be managed by the HTTP client factory. Let's go up to my controllers. And I have a lot of constructors in here just for demonstration purposes. So let's have a look at this first one that's taking an iHTTP client factory. So if we want to go here, we can go var client is equal to fac dot, oh, don't not give me IntelliSense for this one. Create. Oh my goodness, create client, I think it is. Don't hold me to that, because you can see this is not being helpful. And then in here, we can just ask for that particular client. Okay, that syntax may be pseudocode, so don't hold me to that. But we can now go and say, can you get me a client? And it's going to be that create client that has this base address and anything else that you want to set up. So maybe you put headers on it, maybe you're doing all sorts of things on it. I don't know, maybe you're sticking a bearer token on it somehow. So you can now go and call that named one. Now, if you want to have the strongly typed one, we can go back over to that add clients and policies. And where we have the services.add scoped waffle ingredient service, we can actually go and say add HTTP client. No, oh, why did you do that? I thought you were going to be nice. Let's go add HTTP client, like so. Oh, it did it again. Did it do it again? It did. You're horrible. Waffle ingredient service, like that. Okay, so now that is what we call a strongly typed HTTP client. So we've got just a generic kind of HTTP client that you can use anywhere that has no base address. We've got a named one. That's going to annoy me. And then we've got strongly typed. Okay, so those are the three types. Now, there's some differences between these three types. The add HTTP client here extends services, whereas these two extend HTTP client builder or something like that. If this would give me IntelliSense, I could tell you. Maybe if I F12 into it. I'm going to have to chat to Rachel about this. Can't find the declaration. Okay, oh, I know why. I've just realized. If I go to this one, let me just save that. I know why. I'm complaining, and it's because I'm being a donut. Let's go over here, and if I open this, I think I'm going to have IntelliSense. Yay! Yay! All right. Well, just so you know, in case you're in that same situation, I opened a folder on that other tab. And this one's actually the solution. So it knows it's C#. Yes, I was supposed to switch. Okay, so wowzers. Okay, we can see all my stuff now. All right, so we can see, hopefully, if I go F12 onto that, all right, it extends iHTTP client builder like I thought it did. Yay, I was right. So the big difference, because these two extend that client builder, means that we can add policies to it in a nice way. And we're going to talk about policies in this last 10 minutes. So we're going to do poly, and that adds policies for resiliency to your application. And if I go across here, I'm going to show you some various things that we're going to do. There's several policies that you can have a look at. Go and look at poly, because I won't have time now to tell you about it. But there are various things that you can add to your HTTP calls to handle errors and failures and things like that. So what I would say is we're going to add a retry and a circuit breaker. Now, a retry, you keep trying, you try and make the request and you retry. That's kind of self-explanatory. But what is a circuit breaker? This can be a little bit confusing. It is a circuit breaker pattern. I can't remember the name of the dude who invented it because my brain is not all there, obviously. So we have this circuit breaker pattern, and we can implement this. Now, let's have a think about two services, service A and service B. Currently, that circuit is closed. It's counterintuitive. Closed is good, open is bad, okay? Think about closing your electrical circuit. It is based on the electrical circuits that you have at home. So we have a closed circuit. Requests are passing between A and B. Now, what happens if B is having a wobbly? That's very British. It's going to quit. It's going to die. It can't take all of those requests in. It's just not processing anything, and it's going, wait, I need some time. So when you try your request, you can set this failure threshold. You might set it to 1, you might set it to 3. And so if there is a failure, like an exception, you can modify what that failure is or something like that. So once it hits that specified failure, the circuit is going to open, and it means no more requests will go through to service B. And then you can specify a set amount of time. That time can be a set time each try, or you can get gradually bigger, so a longer time. Usually it doubles, but I'll go into that in a minute. So we've got this open circuit, and no requests are going to service B. So you want to try it again. So we go to that half-open stage after a specified delay. Now, that might have allowed service B to get itself together, maybe create a new instance, maybe clear its backlog, just be functioning. So we half-open, and we send one request. We trial it. And if that fails again, we open, see, I get confused as well. We open that circuit, and then we have that delay again. We wait for a bit of time. And then we'll try again, and if it's successful, we close the circuit, and it's business as usual. So let's go and implement that. So let me close these out, and I'm going to reopen that one. Now, I have brought in, I thought it was, I've got Poly in here, but there is a Microsoft.extensions.poly NuGet package that you can use, which I thought I had in here, but maybe I don't. Or you can use Poly. Now, if you use the extension method, that's the one that extends IHTTP client builder. I think this is still the same thing. And it's just got a nice wrapper on it. So if you're doing HTTP and policies, you use that one. If you're doing any kind of method and policies, use the Poly NuGet package. And you can do that. Database requests are a really good candidate for putting this type of policy around. All right. So let's just have a look at the retry policy first, because that's easier to explain. And we have this, it can be async or not. We have an HTTP response message. That's what we get back from the server. And then we go policy static.handle results. So if we get that HTTP response message and we go in and, success status code, so you put that if else is successful and things like that, you can go and use that type of thing. So if it's not successful, okay, or the status code says not found in this case, I want you to retry. And in this case, we're doing a wait and retry async. There's several different extension methods. This time it's going to retry 3 times. And then for each time, this one's going to double the length of time. So let's just say it was 10 seconds, the first try, then it will wait 20 seconds, then it will wait 40 seconds, and so on. All right? So we have that. And then we've got our circuit breaker policy up here. So we've now got an async circuit breaker policy. And so onto that policy, we're saying, let's have a look. And when the status code is internal server error, we're going to activate our policy. Bless you. So we have our circuit breaker async, and there's several different overloads for that method. So this is quite a fleshy, well-fleshed out overload. So you can see Rider gives us the nice, what those parameters are called. So this one's handled events allowed before breaking. So that's our failure threshold, which is 3 in this case. And then we have our time span. We're going to say from 1 minute. And then I've got these on break, on reset, on half open. And those I've just got declared down here. So we've got those, and they're just going to write in the console line. So I've declared those, and then just for ease, I'm not going to type these out. I'm going to just grab them. Let's go and bring those up. And let me put them here, because we can now tack them on the end. If I get rid of those and just comment out this one. You can do a wrap, so you can either just string them along, or you can wrap them all together. I quite like wrapping them. It's cleaner and tidier. So I've put the retry policy in there and circuit breaker policy. They do matter, the order in which you put them, okay? So you need to note the order in which you put your policies. Someone sent me a really good diagram for that yesterday. I can always drop it in Slack, or you can come and find me and I will show you. And then you can use this policy handle extension method here and wrap it. And now we have this particular strongly typed HTTP client now has a policy on it. So you can be very specific to the exact client, and you can add them like that. So you can have different types of policy per client. Now, I want to give you time for questions, so let's just go and grab this and see if we can get this running. I have a pesky code bidding on there. The ingredient service will randomly throw errors, just so you know. It's set up to be naughty. All right, so if we come down, up here, we just need to add this builder.services. Whatever I have in my copy buffer. There we go. All right, so let's just make sure that's all saved, and then we'll go and run it. So the build failed. Of course it did, because I had to live code half of it without IntelliSense. Where did you fail? Are you going to tell me? Where was it? Oh, okay. Let me just go in here. I can fix that really quickly. No, you didn't just see that, did you? It's fine. Isn't that how you fix stuff? It can't break if it doesn't exist. Was that not the only error? Oh my goodness. Don't do this to me. Add dependency. iWaffle creation service could not be found. Okay. Yes. Where are you? iWaffle creation service. Can you control dot? Yay. Okay. Is that? Let me just check. Is that in here as well? Control dot. Have we got other stuff that's doing that? Control dot. No. All right. Let's run. Let's go. Come on. We can do this. Yes. Okay. All right. We built. I've lost where my window is. Is it this way? Oh my goodness, I'm like flashing lights everywhere for you. Let's go. 1 minute, 57 seconds. We can do this. All right, so if we've got questions, we can just go and do them out there, okay? So you can see we've got our post here. Let's go and try it out. All right, so that one worked. I normally go and turn it off and make it unhappy. Oh, okay, this looks good. So if I go over, where's my terminal? Just flick around a few more times. So you can see we've got responses okay. If I go to the function, you can see it's been erroring, okay? So that means it retried. Let's go back. Okay, but you can do that. I'll let you off. That might help. Let's execute. Error. Okay, so we're now retrying. And then it's gone. So if I go over here, we probably, somewhere in the logs, I need to go to that talk later on how to do my logs better. Let's see if we can go through. I just want it to hit the circuit breaker. That would be nice. Go. Come on, fail. You fail me every other time. Why are you being so nice to me? Error. Come on. Come on. See, it's waiting longer each time, so you can see that timing's going in. Yay, it failed 3 times. And now you can see we've hit our circuit breaker. So we've got a broken circuit exception. If I try this now, it's not going to go. It's still open. After a certain amount of time, that will close, and we'll have that half open stage, and we can just go and do it. And then it's doing some weird stuff now, so we'll go and ignore that. But I have 3 seconds left. Thank you very much. I know I went over there because I like to talk, and I'm going to blame Ryder for not giving me IntelliSense, even though I was in the wrong bit. So remember, you can go and find me on Layla Codes It. You can find me here. You can find me on Slack, and we can go and do our questions there if you put those in Slido. I'm sorry that we can't do them here, but if you want to listen to the questions, we'll have a make-do stuff out there with coffee and drinks and that. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day.